The observatory was quiet that night, except for the low hum of machines and the occasional beep from the computer screens. Dr. Elena Harris sat in front of the main console, her eyes scanning the data. She had worked in space communications for over 15 years, and she thought she had seen almost everything. But tonight felt different. Something unusual flickered across the monitors. Her fingers froze above the keyboard. The signal was not random. It was structured like a language, but unlike anything she had seen before. This can't be natural," she whispered. Her assistant, Malik, leaned over her shoulder, eyes wide. "Could it be a test? Some new satellite signal?" he asked. Elena shook her head slowly. "No. This feels like someone is trying to speak to us." The signal repeated, over and over, like a heartbeat. The sound waves formed patterns that looked almost like code. Elena ran it through translation algorithms, but nothing matched. Finally, Malik said, "What if it's a message?" Elena's heart skipped a beat. The possibility was terrifying and exciting at the same time. A message from outside Earth. From someone, or something else. By dawn, the entire observatory team was awake and watching the signal. News channels began picking up the story. Scientists everywhere were trying to decode it. The signal continued, more urgent than before, almost pleading. Finally, after hours of calculations, the pattern revealed its meaning. It was a desperate message. The words were simple but clear. "Help us. We are dying. Our world is ending." Elena could hardly breathe. The message was not just a signal. It was a cry for life from another planet. From beings she had never met. From creatures who had somehow learned about Earth and had reached out in the last moments of their civilization. Immediately, governments around the world were alerted. Emergency meetings began. Some leaders were scared. They called it a potential threat, a trick, or even a trap. Others saw it as an opportunity, a chance to show humanity's courage and compassion. But the question lingered in every mind: should we respond? Elena and her team worked through the night. Every signal sent back was cautious, respectful. Finally, they decided on a simple reply: "We hear you. We will help if we can." It was a message of hope, but it carried a weight far heavier than the words suggested. Across the globe, people stayed glued to their screens. They watched the monitors, feeling a strange mix of fear, curiosity, and hope. Could these beings really exist? Could humans really help them? Children whispered in classrooms about aliens. Scientists debated on live broadcasts. Some said it was a miracle. Others called it madness. Then, just as suddenly as the messages had started, a new signal arrived. This one was different. Faster, more intense. The aliens were in real danger. Their planet's condition was worse than anyone had imagined. The signal carried images now, faint and distorted, showing vast deserts, burning skies, and cities falling apart. Humanity was staring at the end of a world. The team in the observatory worked faster than ever. They translated the images, trying to understand the science behind the disaster. Meteor showers? Supernova? Climate collapse? Nothing fit perfectly. But one thing was certain: the alien civilization could not survive without help, and time was running out. Elena felt the pressure pressing down on her chest. This was bigger than any space mission she had ever worked on. Bigger than politics, bigger than borders. This was life itself, reaching out across the stars. Humanity had a choice: ignore the cry or step forward. And if they stepped forward, what would it cost? The world waited as Earth sent its first message of real contact. Scientists explained it in simple words: "We understand your suffering. We will do what we can to help. You are not alone." The aliens responded almost immediately, their signal now filled with what could only be described as relief. A strange warmth spread in the observatory, as if the message itself had entered the room. But the relief was brief. Another part of the signal flashed, more urgent than before. Their technology was failing. Their ships could not hold for long. Every second mattered. The team realized that the alien survival depended not only on their messages but also on the actions humanity would take in the next days. The tension was electric. Every screen, every satellite, every message carried the weight of life and death. Across the world, people began to realize the magnitude of the moment. Humanity had never faced a choice like this before, not in history, not in legend. And yet, despite the fear, a spark of hope ignited. Somewhere in the vast darkness of space, a civilization was reaching its last chance. And somewhere on Earth, humans were beginning to realize their courage could mean the difference between life and extinction. The first step had been taken, but the journey was just beginning. And then, as night fell again on Earth, the signal changed once more. It was no longer just a cry for help. It was a plea for partnership. Humanity would have to act, not only with technology and science but with heart and wisdom. And in that silent observatory, Elena whispered to herself, "We cannot fail them. We just cannot." The world had received their last desperate message. And now, humanity's response would write the next chapter of history. Days passed after the first message. Earth had sent its reply, and for a brief moment, people believed the aliens might survive. But now, something extraordinary appeared in the sky. At first, it was just a tiny flicker, barely visible through telescopes. Then it grew larger, brighter, moving fast toward Earth. Governments scrambled. Radar systems lit up. Fighter jets were scrambled, satellites tracked every movement, and scientists in every country stared in awe. The object was not one of Earth's satellites. It was massive, sleek, and clearly not human. It hovered in orbit like a giant shadow against the stars. Elena watched from the observatory as the first live images came through. She could see shapes moving inside, silhouettes that looked humanoid but unlike anything she had ever seen. Panic spread across Earth. Some people called for immediate defense. They feared invasion. What if they are hostile? Leaders shouted at emergency meetings. Others believed the aliens were peaceful, desperate for help. Protests, debates, and discussions erupted around the globe. Humanity was divided, but time did not wait. The aliens were weak. Their ship sent signals that revealed life support systems failing. Oxygen levels were dropping, and parts of the ship glowed red with warning lights. Elena and her team worked frantically to decode the signals. It was clear, these beings could not survive long without help. Despite fear, a small team of diplomats and scientists prepared for first contact. They suited up and entered a small shuttle to meet the alien ship. Every moment, the tension grew. People around the world watched on live broadcasts, holding their breath. Inside the alien ship, it was unlike anything humans had imagined. Strange lights pulsed softly along the walls. Machines hummed with quiet energy. The aliens themselves were fragile, with thin limbs and glowing eyes that reflected both fear and hope. They did not speak words humans could understand, but their gestures, their eyes, and the signals they sent showed one clear message: "We are dying. Please help." Earth had never faced anything like this. The aliens were intelligent, desperate, and vulnerable. Governments debated again. Some wanted to quarantine the beings. Others demanded they be treated as guests, with care and respect. The world's population followed every update, captivated and terrified at the same time. Elena's team worked tirelessly. They translated the alien signals into messages humans could understand. They discovered something incredible. The aliens had knowledge far beyond Earth's technology. Their energy systems, space travel, and medicine were advanced, almost magical in comparison to human science. But their civilization had reached a breaking point. Their home world was dying, and nothing they could do alone could save it. Earth had a choice, and the weight of it pressed heavily on everyone. Could humanity extend a hand across the stars? Could humans risk resources, technology, and even their own safety to save a species they had never met? Time was running out. The alien ship's warning lights blinked faster. Their signals were urgent, almost frantic. If help did not arrive soon, millions of lives would be lost. Humanity faced a moment that would define its history. Would it rise to the challenge, or would fear win? Elena watched the aliens' movements on the screen. Despite exhaustion, she felt a strange connection. These were not enemies. These were beings like humans, trying to survive. And now, the survival of an entire species depended on humanity's courage and wisdom. As the first emergency plans were approved, fleets prepared, and scientists shared knowledge, one thing became clear. The aliens' fate and Earth's destiny were now intertwined. Humanity's response could show the universe what humans were truly capable of. Not just fear, but bravery, compassion, and unity. And somewhere in orbit, the aliens waited, fragile and hopeful, as humanity took its first real step toward helping them. The world held its breath, knowing that the next move would change everything. The shuttle carrying the human team approached the alien ship slowly. Elena, Malik, and the other scientists could feel the tension in their chests. Every second mattered. One wrong move could trigger panic, or worse. The airlock opened with a hiss. Inside, the alien ship was quiet, almost eerie. Soft lights glowed along the walls, pulsing in a rhythm that felt alive. Strange machines hummed, their purposes unknown. The humans stepped carefully, their eyes scanning every corner. Then they saw them. The aliens were smaller than humans but delicate, with long limbs and large, luminous eyes. Their skin shimmered faintly, as if reflecting the dim light around them. Some were weak, leaning on supports. Others floated slightly, aided by machines. The humans froze, unsure how to act. A being stepped forward, raising its hand in a gesture that seemed universal. Elena swallowed hard. She realized that, despite the differences, there was intelligence and emotion in those eyes. Fear, hope, desperation. She extended her hand slowly. The alien mimicked the gesture. It was the first true contact, silent but profound. Communication was difficult. The alien's language was complex, a mixture of sound patterns and light signals. The humans tried every translation device, but words failed. Instead, they relied on gestures, drawings, and shared technology. Slowly, understanding began to form. The aliens showed holographic images of their dying world. Oceans boiling, forests burning, cities collapsing under storms of energy they could no longer control. The humans watched in horror, realizing the scale of the disaster. These were not stories or warnings, they were living truths. But the aliens also showed humans their knowledge. Energy systems far beyond Earth's, medicine capable of curing nearly any disease, and technology that could travel faster than light. It was both awe-inspiring and frightening. Humanity could gain so much from them, but only if they acted wisely. Not all humans trusted the aliens. Some whispered that they could be dangerous, spies, or invaders. Tension grew within the team. Even within the observatory on Earth, debates raged on live broadcasts. Could humans risk helping beings they barely understood? Despite the fear, Elena and her team focused on the urgent task, saving lives. They delivered food, medicine, and technical support. They repaired parts of the alien ship and stabilized life support systems. The aliens, in turn, shared knowledge, showing how humans could improve their own technology. Every moment was tense. One misstep could damage the fragile trust between humans and aliens. The humans had to learn quickly, not just to save the aliens, but to understand them, to communicate with empathy and intelligence. Days passed. Slowly, trust grew. The aliens realized humans genuinely wanted to help. The humans realized that these beings, though alien in form, were not so different in spirit. Both species feared loss, both sought survival, both longed for connection. But the alien situation was still desperate. Their home planet was beyond repair. The warning signals from the ship became louder, more urgent. The team understood, they needed to act quickly, and Earth needed to prepare for something unprecedented, a joint rescue operation of an entire alien civilization. Elena looked at the alien's luminous eyes and felt a surge of determination. "We will not fail you," she said softly. The alien being mirrored her tone in a soft hum, as if understanding every word. It was a moment of connection that transcended language, a silent promise between two species. Back on Earth, news of the first contact spread like wildfire. People debated, argued, hoped, and feared. But one thing was clear: humanity had stepped into history. They were no longer just inhabitants of Earth, they were caretakers of life across the stars. And somewhere in the alien ship, fragile and hopeful, the beings waited. They had reached out in their last desperate hour, and now, for the first time in generations, they believed someone had heard them. The stage was set. Humanity had made contact. The next step, saving a civilization, would test courage, wisdom, and heart like never before. Back on Earth, leaders, scientists, and people everywhere watched the alien signals with growing urgency. Humanity had made contact, but now the real question loomed: how could they help an entire civilization? Emergency meetings were held in every country. Some leaders argued fiercely. "We cannot risk our resources on strangers," one said. "What if they are dangerous? What if this is a trap?" Others spoke with equal passion. "These beings are dying. We have the knowledge and ability to help. This is our chance to show humanity's courage." Amid the debates, Elena and her team worked tirelessly. They sent messages to the aliens, coordinating supplies, instructions, and technical support. Engineers built emergency modules and modified spaceships to carry food, medicine, and energy systems. Scientists studied alien biology to understand what they needed to survive. Not everyone was patient. Some humans tried to exploit the situation. Secret groups sought to take alien technology for themselves. Sabotage and betrayal lurked in the shadows. But a small group of heroes, scientists, pilots, and diplomats, stood firm. They were determined to save the aliens, no matter the risk. On the alien ship, hope and fear lived side by side. The beings watched as humans worked, sometimes nervously, sometimes confidently. They began to trust that these humans were different from what they had feared. And slowly, the humans learned from the aliens, understanding ways to repair systems, purify air, and stabilize weak energy grids. Every step was tense. One mistake could destroy lives. One wrong calculation could kill hundreds. The humans worked day and night, guided by courage, logic, and a shared sense of purpose. Slowly, the alien ship stabilized. Oxygen levels improved, energy pulses steadied, and the aliens regained some strength. Even as progress was made, danger lurked. Some sabotage attempts were discovered just in time. Factions on Earth questioned whether the effort was worth the risk. Public debates raged in streets and online. Yet, amidst all the chaos, humanity began to unite in ways never seen before. Borders, politics, and petty rivalries mattered less. The survival of another species became a symbol of human potential. Then came the hardest part: rescuing the aliens from their dying planet. Data from the alien ship confirmed that their home world was collapsing faster than anyone had predicted. Massive storms, earthquakes, and fires swept the surface. If action was not taken immediately, the civilization would vanish. The plan was risky. Humanity would send a fleet of modified ships to the alien planet, guided by both human and alien knowledge. Teams would land, transport as many beings as possible, and return before the planet's destruction. It was a mission with almost no margin for error. Elena stood at the observatory console, watching simulations of the rescue. She felt both fear and determination. Lives depended on her choices, and there was no turning back. Every human watching knew the same truth: this was not just about helping aliens. It was about showing the universe what humans could do. The aliens sensed the urgency too. Their signals were more urgent, almost frantic. Every moment mattered. But they also seemed to understand that humans were trying, risking everything, reaching across the stars to save them. In that understanding, a fragile bond formed, one that neither species would ever forget. Finally, the plan was approved. Humanity had decided. Fear and doubt remained, but courage and compassion won. The first ships were prepared. Teams trained. Supplies loaded. And across the world, people watched with hope, prayers, and tension. The moment had come. Humans and aliens were about to act together to save a civilization. For the first time, humanity had taken a step beyond Earth, beyond its own survival. They had chosen to reach for another world, to protect life that was not their own. And in doing so, they began a journey that would test every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage they had. Somewhere in orbit, the aliens waited, fragile yet hopeful. On Earth, humans prepared for what could be the most daring mission in history. And in the silent space between planets, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The rescue operation was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same. The fleet left Earth in a roar of engines, shining lights, and hope. Elena and the team watched from the command ship as the human-made vessels carried supplies, medical modules, and rescue teams toward the alien home world. Every person aboard felt the weight of responsibility. This was not just a mission, it was a race against time. Space was beautiful, silent, and terrifying. Stars glimmered like diamonds on black velvet, but danger lurked everywhere. Asteroids drifted unpredictably, some large enough to destroy ships. Cosmic storms crackled with unseen energy, threatening to disable systems. The fleet navigated carefully, guided by both human skill and alien knowledge. The aliens, still weak, hovered in the life support chambers of their own ships. They watched humans with a mix of awe and trust. They had sent desperate signals, and now they were relying on these strangers from another planet for their survival. It was a bond forged in fear and hope alike. Malik, piloting one of the rescue ships, called over the comms, "We're entering the storm zone. Everyone brace yourselves." The ships shuddered as invisible forces pressed against them. Alarms blared. Crew members gritted their teeth, holding on to whatever they could. But despite the chaos, the fleet moved steadily forward, proving that human determination could match the power of nature itself. The aliens taught humans tricks to survive the dangers of space. Shields were adjusted, energy grids stabilized, and navigation systems synced with alien technology. Humans absorbed the knowledge quickly, learning to adapt in ways they never imagined. It was not just survival, it was a partnership. Suddenly, a massive asteroid loomed ahead, bigger than any the fleet had encountered. It spun slowly, its surface jagged and unpredictable. One wrong maneuver, and ships would be crushed. Elena's heart raced as she watched the pilots coordinate, giving commands with precision. The alien advisors offered guidance, pointing out weak points in the asteroid's magnetic field that could be exploited. With careful calculation and bravery, the fleet slipped past the deadly obstacle. Cheers erupted over the comm systems, but there was no time to celebrate. The alien home planet was near, and its surface was chaotic. Storms raged, the ground cracked, and volcanoes erupted. Every second counted. As the fleet descended toward the planet, the team saw the scale of destruction. Cities once magnificent were reduced to rubble. Forests burned, rivers boiled, and massive energy storms lit the sky like lightning on fire. Elena swallowed hard. This was worse than anyone had imagined. Lives depended on the rescue teams acting quickly and efficiently. Human and alien teams prepared for landing. The ships shone bright against the planet's dark surface. Communication channels buzzed with instructions, warnings, and encouragement. Fear was present in every heart, but so was courage, the courage to save a species from extinction. Elena looked out at the fleet and the fragile aliens aboard. She realized how extraordinary this moment was. Humans, often flawed and fearful, were risking everything to protect life beyond their world. They were proving that bravery, intelligence, and compassion could reach across the stars. The fleet's first landers touched down, shuddering under the weight of the unstable ground. Dust and smoke billowed as rescue teams rushed to the weakened cities, carrying alien companions to safety. Every moment was a struggle against nature, but also a testament to human determination. And somewhere above, the remaining ships held steady, ready to assist, ready to protect, ready to prove that humanity could rise to the challenge. The journey was far from over. Danger was everywhere, and time was slipping. But the humans and their alien allies were together, learning, adapting, and daring to hope. Against impossible odds, they moved forward, ready to face whatever the dying planet could throw at them. The first stage of the rescue had begun, and the universe watched silently as humanity showed what it could truly achieve. The landing shuttles hit the surface of the dying planet with shudders and alarms. Dust and fire swirled around them as the first human teams stepped out, carrying alien companions and essential equipment. The ground shook beneath their feet. Cracks opened suddenly, swallowing streets and buildings, while massive storms lashed the horizon. Every moment was a test of courage and skill. Elena led one team, carefully moving through a collapsing city. Buildings were crumbling, molten rivers cutting paths through what remained of streets. The aliens were fragile, their bodies weakened by months of struggle. Humans carried them, guided them, and sometimes had to make split-second decisions to save lives. Malik's team faced a different danger. A massive storm approached, lightning arcing across the sky. Ships and landers had to be moved to safe zones while humans protected the alien population. One wrong move could send the entire fleet into disaster. But the humans adapted, using both technology and quick thinking to keep everyone safe. Some sacrifices had to be made. A few landers were lost, swallowed by collapsing terrain or destroyed by sudden energy surges. Teams risked their lives to ensure no alien was left behind. Every time they succeeded, hope grew stronger, not just among the aliens, but among the humans as well. The aliens helped too. Despite their weakness, they shared knowledge of hidden safe zones, stable energy fields, and ancient technology that could lift collapsed structures. Humans listened carefully, learning quickly. This was more than a rescue, it was a partnership. Time ran short. The planet's final collapse was accelerating. Craters opened like mouths ready to swallow everything. Storms intensified. The horizon burned. The fleet overhead prepared for evacuation. Humans and aliens together carried the last of the survivors, rushing toward the landers as the ground shook violently beneath them. Elena felt exhaustion in her bones but pushed forward. One more building. One more group of aliens. They could not fail. She shouted over the comms, coordinating the remaining teams. Every decision was life or death. Every second counted. Finally, the last of the survivors were aboard the fleet. The humans and aliens watched as the planet began to break apart, massive eruptions consuming the land, storms tearing through the skies, and the surface splitting violently. The fleet lifted, engines blazing, and pulled away just in time. As they entered orbit, relief washed over everyone. The aliens were safe, but the sight of their dying planet left a deep mark on every human. They had witnessed destruction beyond imagination, yet they had risen to the challenge. Elena looked at the rescued beings. Some were weeping, some silent, some glowing softly in gratitude. The humans realized something profound. Compassion, courage, and teamwork had saved a civilization. Against impossible odds, humanity had acted not for power or glory, but for life itself. The fleet set course back for Earth. Humans and aliens worked together to stabilize systems, tend to the weak, and process the trauma of the mission. Despite exhaustion, there was pride and a new understanding of what humanity could achieve when it acted with wisdom and heart. For the first time, humans and aliens shared a bond forged in survival, trust, and hope. The rescue operation had succeeded, but the journey was not over. Both species now looked to the future, wondering what could be built together from the ashes of disaster. Elena whispered to Malik, "We did it. We actually did it." He nodded, eyes reflecting both fatigue and awe. And the universe just got a little smaller, a little brighter, because of us. Above them, stars sparkled, silent witnesses to a moment of history. Humanity had shown courage, ingenuity, and compassion on a scale never seen before. And somewhere, across the galaxies, a civilization once on the edge of extinction had found hope and new life, because humans had chosen to respond. The fleet returned to Earth, shining against the dark sky like a bridge between worlds. People everywhere watched as the alien ships descended, carrying beings who had once faced extinction. The streets were filled with awe and excitement, and some whispered prayers of gratitude. Humanity had never witnessed anything like this. On landing, humans helped the aliens out of their ships. They were fragile, tired, but alive. Doctors and scientists worked quickly, giving them food, medicine, and clean air. Children watched in wonder, some reaching out to touch the glowing hands of their new friends. It was a scene of quiet miracles, life saved, bonds formed, and fear replaced with hope. The aliens, once silent and desperate, began to communicate more openly. Simple words, gestures, and glowing patterns filled the air. They shared stories of their lost cities, their culture, and their knowledge. Humanity listened with respect and fascination. Every lesson they learned could improve life on Earth, energy systems, medicine, and ways to travel farther into space. Leaders around the world realized that this was bigger than politics or borders. The rescue had shown that humans could unite for a cause greater than themselves. They had saved lives, built trust, and proved that courage and compassion could reach across the stars. Elena walked among the aliens, seeing their eyes light up as they explored Earth. She thought about the journey, the desperate signals, the perilous flight, the collapsing world, and the daring rescue. Humanity had faced fear, uncertainty, and danger, but in the end, they had risen to the challenge. The aliens began to help humans too. Their knowledge of energy, medicine, and technology was shared freely. Slowly, Earth transformed. Cities became cleaner, energy systems more advanced, and diseases once untreatable began to fade. Humans had not only saved a civilization, they had improved their own world. Yet, beyond the technology and knowledge, the most important change was in people's hearts. Humanity had learned empathy, courage, and unity on a scale never seen before. Ordinary citizens, scientists, soldiers, and leaders alike realized what they could achieve when they acted together. Children played in parks alongside alien companions, laughing and learning. Scientists studied alien methods, creating new ways to travel faster, heal faster, and live better. The bond between species grew stronger with every passing day. Humans had reached for the stars, and in doing so, they had shown the universe who they truly were. Elena stood on a hill overlooking a city where humans and aliens walked side by side. The sun was setting, casting golden light on the world they had saved and rebuilt. She smiled softly. Humanity had responded to a desperate plea, not with fear, but with courage, wisdom, and heart. And the universe had noticed. Somewhere far away, in the ruins of a once dying world, survivors whispered their thanks, knowing that life continued because humans had dared to care. Humanity had become more than earthlings, they had become a force of hope, compassion, and unity. And as stars shone above, Elena whispered, "This is only the beginning." The alien's soft glow responded, like a gentle agreement. Together, humans and their new friends looked to the future, ready to explore, to learn, and to face whatever the universe had in store. Earth had answered the last desperate message. And in doing so, it had rewritten its destiny. Humanity had risen, not just as survivors of their own planet, but as heroes of the stars.